Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now this week we've got a great story of endurance, hardship and frustration that led to a thriving business turning over $57 million a year. It's the story of Gil Oved and one of the co-founders of the Creative Council, a company that runs campaigns for some of Africa's biggest brand names. It was a tough ride to the top against some of the largest and most established companies in South Africa. We'll speak to Gil here in the studio in a minute, but first, let's go out into the field to hear from his business partner, Neu-Ner.
The Creative Council was formed in 2001 by Neu-Ner and Gil Oved as a two-man agency. The Creative Council has now grown to become the largest below-the-line activations and promotions agency in South Africa. Neu-Ner, Group CEO at TCC, gave us some insight into the business.
When we started the company, it was literally myself and my business partner. We started in a 12 square meter office in Hillbrow. It was called Parktown, it was clearly Hillbrow. And we really started with nothing. It was just the two of us. And the third person in the company was a receptionist. And so it grew, and so it grew, and so it grew.
Since its formation, the company's focus has been on creating brands and promotions.
Creative Council is a unique marketing solutions provider. What we do is we create consumer experiences around brands that drive consumers to purchase products. We create them internally and then we execute them on the ground ourselves.
Significant growth has been observed over the years as TCC targets the multinationals like Vodacom, Unilever and etc.
Today we have about 550 full-time staff members. We also have 15,000 temporary staff that work for us on any given weekend.
We spoke to one of the 550 employees, Tabila Mkabela, project coordinator, who shared what she did at TCC.
I'm a project coordinator. Sure, it's very exciting because you get to work with a lot of brands and it's very high paced and that's what we do. We run around all day and we make it happen.
Well, that's Neu-Ner, one of the partners in this business. Now, got the other one here, Gil Oved. Now, this is quite a remarkable story because you two your families seem to have known each other forever.
Yeah, unbeknownst to us, we actually met when we were 15 in high school, and consequently, after a few months of being friends, we had worked out that our parents had known each other in varsity back in Israel. We were born 11 days apart in the same ward. No one knew about this. Came to South Africa at a similar time, and 15 years later met each other, and our fates were intertwined ever since.
And whereabouts did you meet up?
High school, same class.
In Johannesburg?
King David in Johannesburg. Go figure.
So when did because you had your first business venture at school.
Yes.
I mean, how did it come about?
Well, I think we've always been naturally entrepreneurial. I don't think you actually know what the term means until you start doing it, but we had a desire to do things outside of school. So it was our matric year, and we decided Cape Town is coming up in December, and we need some extra cash. So we started a business selling makeup kits. They were very, very good quality makeup. In fact, on the back it said Tokyo, Hong Kong and London. I think that was a typo, but we claimed that it was intentional to show that it's for South African consumers.
For those outside the country, Linden is a famous suburb in Johannesburg.
Correct.
Not London. No.
Yes, not at all London, maybe. But and we actually called the company Still Thinking.
Oh.
And the reason is that we needed an opening line. So we'd walk from salon to salon with these kits. And people would say, "Oh, what's the name of your company?" to see if there's any credibility. We say, "Well, we're still thinking." And they'd go, "Huh?" And we say, No, that's the name. That's the name." That would be the opening line.
And what early lessons did you learn when you were selling these makeup kits?
That hair salons are a great way to distribute product. And I think we woke up early, we worked till late. It requires tenacity. We never took no for an answer, which is a lesson I learned back then and I still use now. I mean, our view is that no is the beginning of a negotiation, not the end of one. And that's the kind of stuff that you learn dealing with people face to face. You also learn about relationships and the importance of relationships. So it's not only about having great strategy and everything, it's about looking someone in the eye and speaking to them.
So here you were, 15 years old, you had money in your pocket, which you made yourself. So
Yes.
where did the education go after that?
So we went separate ways, as one does after school. I had a passion, believe it or not, for television.
Did you? What did you try?
Well, so I'd been a TV presenter, aspiring to become someone like you back in those days. So I'd been a TV presenter on a teen magazine program in South Africa, like a kids teen magazine program. And basically, that my passion wasn't in front of the camera, but rather behind the scenes. I wanted to become a famous director. So I left school, and whilst studying very badly and part-time, I chose to follow my dreams, and I started a business called Juwazi Productions. Oh. And this was right after elections, and it was a really exciting time in South Africa, and new regimes and new ways of doing things. And basically it was called Juwazi because I got a partner with me who was of Swazi origin, one of the tribes in South Africa, and me being Jewish, the Jew and the Swazi, and it was called Juwazi Productions. And we had that for 3 years. Run went into stockbroking. So he's always had more of a financial background. And so he studied that and then went to work in that.
So how did the 15-year-olds of King David's School get back together for business again?
So what happens, I think, many times with entrepreneurs is that they very soon realize that it's entrepreneurship or bust. It's a really strange question, so I'll answer you in a second, but the really strange thing about entrepreneurs, I find, is people ask me, how did you have the guts to go through with it, and when you failed to continue? And I always say to them, when you're an entrepreneur, you see no other option. It's just, you don't even question it. It's just that there is nothing else but to succeed, even at the face of great adversity. So coming back to it, he was a stockbroker. I was trying out TV productions, and we kind of realized can't be in corporates, can't be in TV productions. They're very volatile, as you know. We've got to try something else. And at the time, there was something very exciting happening. It was called the internet boom. And we were reading an article that said that day traders is the fastest growing profession. And engineers and dentists are leaving what they're doing and they're going into day trading. We said, we've got to do this. So we got together. It was the time of the internet boom. You know the word after that, which we'll come to.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we raised a couple of million rands, which was substantial money at the time, on a concept. It was a book. We were certain that if we worked it out, we could probably make the book into a reality with a bit of money. And we raised that money. And we started working on developing this website for 3 years.
And you built up a company, but unfortunately, as you said, .com boom soon became bust.
Correct.
And you went to work one day, and everyone talks about this, but I wonder actually how many people get there, and you went in and there was a great big padlock on your door.
Literally.
That was it. You were locked out, the sheriffs were there, and you were bankrupt. What was it like at that moment?
Unpleasant. So it was disconcerting. You spend 3 years of your life believing in something and working hard, and we were on the verge of launching, and the company that had invested in us went into liquidation. As a result, we lost everything. I must say, for the record, we were lucky. Bankrupt is a definitional, semantics here, but we had parents who backed us. We could go back home. I think there are a lot of people who had a lot less fortune than we did. But yeah, effectively no money, no work experience, nothing to show for it, very scary.
And it was a big slap in the face because you've been obviously getting your own ventures going since you were a school kid.
Yeah.
I mean, how sort of hard was it to take at the time?
It's unfathomable. If I think back on it, I get a physical reaction. Even now, 12 years later, I get a physical reaction. I remember waking up at noon and being tired.
Yeah.
And having this incredible pain every time I thought about it. Here on my left arm, it's so strange because it's a physical manifestation, but very scary. And what we walked away from it saying, look, we've got nothing, but we love the principle of entrepreneurship. We love the fact that tomorrow you can wake up with an idea and you never know where it's going to take you. And we enjoy our partnership, even though we are such different individuals. We antitheses of each other.
What makes you guys tick, you think, when you're
We're highly competitive.
Yeah.
We've got an incredible sense of competition, which we've always had since we met. And we love the concept that a vision, which is chemical reactions in your brain, could become a reality that's tangible for others.
And good arguments as well?
We're Israeli. You know what they say about Israelis? For every 2 Israelis, there are 3 opinions. So we love heated debate. In fact, strangely, it is one of our core fundamentals in our current business. One of our core stated values is healthy, heated debate, and we encourage it, including debating against us, the CEOs. We love that.
So at this time, you decided to stick together, even though obviously you'd lost a lot of money together as well. But how long did it take? I mean, we'll talk a little bit in the second half about how you finally cracked it. But how long did it take to recover from this pain in the arm?
So it took months. Especially, I mean, it's ridiculous. You start, rationing your coffees. So the first problem when you've got very little and you're trying to work out on how to start a business is you've got to work out what you're going to be doing. And whilst you're doing that, you've got to meet people. Problem is you've got no offices. So we found an incredible office called the Hyatt Hotel. And it was very cheap. We didn't pay rent. You just had to buy a cappuccino every hour or 2. Otherwise, So it's incredible. You could do a lot at the Hyatt Hotel coffee shop. You could have meetings there. You could send emails. You've got your laptop. And we literally...
And you just sat there...
We sat working out what we wanted to do with our lives.
Really?
And tried to bounce back. Had meetings. We call it 50 first dates.
Really?
You have a lot of first meetings.
I mean, the waiters must have known you in first name terms by the end of it.
Absolutely. And we knew their names too.
It must have been quite odd thinking about that. I mean, what do you say? I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs watching this show.
Yes.
I mean, what do you say to them? How to take a heavy blow like that?
So the first thing is, and it's easy for me to say 12 years later and achieving some degree of success. It's easy to say this, but I mean it with all my heart. It's the best thing that ever happened to us. And I reference to this day, every day, I reference the learnings that I derived from that whole period. Because you learn to appreciate what you have. You learn the importance of bouncing back. You read a lot of stats about how second-time entrepreneurs are so much more successful than the first-timers, and third-time entrepreneurs, if they fail twice, the third time, their chances of success increase dramatically. So it's a learning process, and it's also about accepting that business, as with life, is cyclical. And it goes through troughs and crests. It's just one of those things.
Well, Gil, Oved, hold it a second there, because we're going for a short ad break now. When we come back, we're going to find out how you did finally crack it and make it to $57 million a year turnover. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now, if you have any comments or suggestions on the show, please drop us an email to entrep@abn360.com or follow us on Twitter at EntrepEdge handle. Still in the studio with me, I have the co-founder of the Creative Council, Gil Oved, who's got an amazing story to tell, along with his partner, Neu-Ner, who we saw early in the program. Now, basically, both of you were out of it at this stage. You were sitting having coffee in the Hyatt Hotel, hoping that something would come up, and then you had an idea. Then you decided to form the company that was going to make your fortune for you. And the idea was selling other people's brands.
Yes.
How did you hit on it?
I could lie and make it sound really impressive, and that we had a vision and we knew where we were going, and that would be total, utter nonsense. The truth is, and very often I think with entrepreneurs, is you have absolutely no idea where a business is going to go, and you have no real reason to believe that it will succeed. My dad's an engineer, so is Runs. They are experts at working out why things aren't going to work out, what all the problems were. When we mentioned this concept of selling other people's products, I got a long list of why it wouldn't work. And the truth is they were rational and logical and they were right. What they don't account for are things like passion and charisma and just innovative thinking. So the idea came from Run's first-year law student girlfriend who was doing part-time work as a promoter. And we had all these fancy degrees, all these degrees and whatnot, and we were making less money than she was, and she was a first-year law student. And we were kind of like working this out. Something's not right here. So And so what we thought is, placing promoters seems pretty easy, low barriers to entry, low risk, high free cash flow, which is exactly what we were looking for. And our theory was we're going to place promoters in order to pay for the money to pay for the office to allow us to sit and work out what we really want to do with our lives. And that was 12 years ago.
So at one stage, though, according to your business partner, you actually picked up the yellow pages and just flicked through it and picked some people and called them. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I was just saying the other day to some of my journalists, I mean, even if you're looking for a story and not a fortune, if you started phoning people at random at the phone book, it's a bit desperate. I mean, how did you end up doing that?
So, listen, you got to find clients somehow. So it was weird. So he used to use the yellow pages. I used to go into stores and I literally used to pick up products off the shelf and look at the back and see what the manufacturer was, try and work that out. And so there was a lot of cold calls. We developed techniques, and I pray that whatever happens, I never ever have to do this ever again. And for our entrepreneurs who are starting off, cold calls are the most demeaning, demoralizing things you'll ever do. But do it because it builds character. And what I used to do is I had a spreadsheet. And usually you'd get cold at brand manager level. So the first lesson to learn is go straight to the top and work your way down. So we used to call MDs, CEOs, and marketing directors. Once or twice we managed to even get meetings with them, which is miraculous. Other times they'd feel bad, refer us down. But as soon as they referred us down, we've got the credibility of the marketing director. The brand managers have to see you. And we used to have like little notes, comments that we made on the Excel spreadsheet, like those little yellow tabs about the PA. Try to get her name and any details so that the next time you call, it's, hey SD, how you doing? It's Gil again. How the kids, exactly.
But it must be, what was the worst put down you ever had on this cold calling?
I think there was a threat to family life and limb.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Stop calling, yeah.
Really?
I'll take that as a no. You know that before I said to you, we never take no's. That was the end of the negotiation as well.
So, anyway, and then you got a chance for a break.
Yeah.
A company called Danone, which is one of the great makers of yogurt and milk and everything else in Africa. Now, your business partner went in to go and do the pitch. Now, I'm going to quote a quote from him, which I rather enjoyed. He said, I created a PowerPoint presentation and arrived to present it. Once I got there, the agency before me walked out and there were 5 of them carrying briefcases. At that moment, I decided to ignore the PowerPoint presentation and speak from the heart. But it seemed to have worked. I mean, you weren't there.
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
How did he do it?
Well, I'm a pretty tenacious bugger. But he just takes it to another league. The guy boggles my mind with his... He just has this attitude that no is just simply not an answer. So the first thing is I was amazed that he even had the guts to call an international, multinational company and go there and even put together a presentation. I don't think I would have had the guts to do so.
Because, I mean, I've taken part in pitches down the years in television and journalism, what have you, and the first question you ask yourself is, who are these people? Who want to come and sell us something? But if your partner was there on his own, not even anything, just standing there, I mean, why on earth did they pick him?
It's incredible. Well, I mean, it's a crazy story, Chris, because what happened was the biggest challenge of the brief was that you can never break the cold chain. And simply stated, it just means that you have to pick yogurt up from the warehouse and get it to our offices all over the country and then get it to the promoters, and the promoters need to get it into the store. And all this has to happen without breaking the cold chain. Very complicated concept. And that was the brief, and all the other agencies failed. We, of course, my business partner, claimed that he found a way to do this like no one else. And thank goodness they took him at his word. And then a couple of weeks later, based on that, he got a call to say, you got it. And he phoned me. He was ecstatic. He said, our lives are going to change. This is it. We should celebrate. But first, can we just work out how we don't break the cold chain?
Really? And they never found out till this day, I suppose.
Well, we worked it out. And that's been a central,
Sorry.
Where's this going out? Where's this being broadcast? But I think that's another thing about entrepreneurs. They sell a vision, and they believe that they can work it out, and most times they do. And we've taken on a lot of things that we had no idea what we were going to do. I kind of joke, we generally say we bite off more than we can chew, and then we chew like hell. You know what I mean?
So from Danone,
yes.
That was a big break. And then how did it go from there? Because, I mean, you were out there on the streets sort of pushing their products and brand name. Who was next? How did it grow from there to $57 million?
So the simple answer is I have no clue. No. I have no idea, so don't even try. And you need a lot longer on the show. But the nutshell version is this. We were very, very fortunate. And, people ask me, what's the biggest reason for your success? Without question, luck. And I think any entrepreneur who tells you otherwise is lying or is lying to himself. So luck plays a big role always. And we were very lucky in that we entered an industry that was very primitive at the time. There wasn't a lot of focus and not a lot of spend in the industry of promotions, activations, below the line, direct interaction. And totally fortuitously, the industry was about to shift. And if you look at what kind of spend there was then compared to what it is now, it's incomparable. TV spend down, print down. You see a lot of culling of normal print to digital print. And we were the benefactors of that. But we also changed the view of how promotions are run. We brought statistics in it. Both my business partner and I are chartered financial analysts. We've got CFAs. We like numbers. We like stats. And that's kind of like what the brand managers were looking for. We came to them and we said, listen, spend money with us and we will help you grow sales. Forget all the touchy-feely stuff. We will increase sales because we will engage your consumers directly. So that was the first thing. The second thing is about understanding what your value chain is and trying to keep it all in the microeconomy. So it's really about looking forward and backward and upward and downward and really trying to capture as much as you can and providing clients with holistic solutions, which is what we've been doing.
How much competition is there out there? Because it seems that anywhere you go these days, because of guys like you, I mean, someone's handing you something or a hand or something if you're at a football match. I don't know. I mean, how much competition is there amongst the companies in the continent?
It's a tough question because our industry is fairly indefinable. There used to be a time where everyone kind of knew their place. There was traditional marketing, traditional advertising and stuff. Those days are gone. And we're constantly reinventing ourselves. In fact, the way we see things, the day we can define what we do, we're going to be out of business because it's ever evolving. And it's quite funny in our circle of friends, they always kind of joke, what's your shtick today? Because every couple of months I need to come up with a new shtick, the new thing. And our clients kind of expect that from us because it is evolving so rapidly. So when you ask what the competition is in terms of our industry, it's difficult to define the industry. That's the first thing. The second thing, though, is when it comes to placing people on a national scale, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of them, especially in rural areas where there's a big growth in the bottom of the pyramid spend, it's very difficult to do. So there are lots of small companies who can do very localized regional activations. We call them a man in a van and a fax machine. But to do our kind of stuff, there is actually very, very little competition. In fact, we would welcome competition. We like good, healthy competition because all too often it increases the category. And because we have such a big market share in the category, we need more money spent with the category as opposed to with us, if that makes sense.
And you've got about 60% of the national market here.
Yeah, arguably. It's very difficult to define because it's made up of so many components. But, we do most of the FMCG companies, the big telco, the biggest telco in the country. So, yeah.
Do you plan to spread in the continent?
Absolutely.
So which countries are you looking at?
So there are two answers there. We want to spread in the continent. We're going to want to follow one of our big clients. So it's really a question of where they're going to go. Mm-hmm. So the exciting prospects in Nigeria, in Angola, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe. So we'd have to study that more. But I think the second question is, the second part is that we want to make sure that our offering is robust. We have so many opportunities in South Africa right now, and you kind of have to pick which battlefront you start with first. So it's going to be a question of, do we extend our products and service offering? Do we go overseas, or do we do both?
So what does the future hold for the two of you? You've obviously had an interesting time the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Where are you going? What do you want to be?
Yeah, the sky's the limit. For me, and for Run, we want to continue to have fun. first and foremost, we wanted to have fun. And having fun means growing our business. If we were soccer players, we'd want to score goals, but we're businessmen, so we wanted to grow revenues. That's the bottom line. So we want to continue doing what we're doing on a larger scale. We want to go into digital. We want to focus more on bottom of the pyramid and the informal markets. We're creating a lot of job opportunities for people who are unemployed and unemployable. We're very proud of that fact. And there are lots of things that we still want to do.
Lastly, in a word, how do you guys want to be remembered as entrepreneurs?
Guys who care about what they do, guys who leave a legacy, and guys who care about the people that they work with most importantly. It's all about the people. It always is.
Thank you very much, Gil Oved, one of the founder members of the Creative Council. Thanks for your insights and your entrepreneur stories. And thanks again. And if you want to read more about their story, catch the March edition of Forbes Africa. It comes out on March the 1st. To find a lot more about the Creative Council and its incredible journey. I'm afraid that's all we have time for this week. We'll see you again next week, same time. Until then, for myself, Chris Bishop, it's goodbye.